If you notice on your handout, you'll see in John chapter 10, verse 11, it says Jesus is the good shepherd. If you look at Hebrews chapter 13, verse number 20, it says Jesus is the great shepherd. If you look at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse number 4, it said He is the chief shepherd. There's got to be something to this shepherd bit. Amen? Not only do we have a shepherd, but we have a good shepherd. Not only do we have a good shepherd, we have a great shepherd. Not only do we have a great shepherd, but we have a chief shepherd. We have a shepherd, a leader, somebody that wants to lead and they want us to follow. And His name is Lord. His name is God. His name is Christ. You see, I believe that deep down within, when David went through all these battles and all these hard times and everything while he was on the run and while he was out there not knowing what's going to happen next, he looked back and he said, you know what? I can remember when I was in the field. I can remember what it was like when I wasn't there with the sheep, or I had to be there. I remember how those sheep counted on me. And Lord, You are my shepherd. And Lord, I don't have nothing to worry. Lord, I don't have to stress. Lord, You're my shepherd. So number one, He is my leader. Number two, He is my comforter. He is my comfort or comforter. Look at verse number 2. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, that leadeth me beside still waters. You may not know this, but sheep will not lay down until they feel free of diseases, hunger, and fear. It is the shepherd's responsibility to make sure those sheep feel like this. In fact, if you notice where he says, He maketh me lie down beside still waters. He leadeth me beside still waters. A sheep will not drink from a swift or roaring waters. It scares them. They go into a panic. They get scared. They're frightened. And they will not drink unless the water is calm. You see, it is the great shepherd, the chief shepherd's responsibility to comfort these sheep. Let me put it to you another way about sheep. Sheep, get this, they just want everything to be okay. They want everything to be peaceful. They want everything to be calm. They want everything just to be okay, just right. Don't get me upset. I don't want a lot. I don't want to get out of this box. I don't want any confrontation. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of that. I just want things to be okay. Does that sound familiar? Isn't that how we want? Isn't that what we want? It's just things to be okay. Things to be right. I mean, I want to be able to do this and do that. I just want things to be okay. I don't want to go through a big hassle. I don't want to spend my life running through it with just stress and my stomach balled up in knots and always worried and always upset about something. I just want things to be okay. It's exactly how we do. Well, it's the great shepherd. It's the Lord's responsibility to make sure this happens. Amen? Amen? But get this. On our theme verse, it says, trust in the Lord and lean not towards our own understanding. It's God's responsibility to say, look, I will take care of you. You are my children. I will lead you. I will comfort you. I have promised you that. But you do not lean towards your own understanding. You have got to trust in me. Wow. And you'll never learn to trust in the Lord until you go through trials and tribulations. You'll never know the comfort of the Lord until you go through these things. Did David have problems in his life with his family? Absolutely. When you have murder and incest and rape and all like this? Absolutely. Did he have men backstabbing men and people that turned on him? Absolutely. Was he on the run most of the time because somebody wanted to murder him? Absolutely. He knew what it was like. But he said, you know what? He maketh me lie down in green pastures. In other words, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And he leadeth me to still waters. When we trust in God, no matter what we're going through, He'll bring us comfort. The third thing, not only is He my leader, not only is He my comfort, but number 3, He's my strength. Notice verse number 3. He restoreth my soul, that leadeth me in the path of righteousness for His name's sake. I want you to notice where it says restore. The word restore actually means to reinstate. It actually means to revive. In other words, it means to come back, bring back. When sheep are by themselves and they're all piled up and they just rub against one another and they're very tight-knit, they'll just wander and go astray. And all of a sudden the shepherd has to lead them back. You see, sheep feel, when they're by themselves and when they have no shepherd, they feel defeated, they feel frustrated, they feel like they can't go on, and they just begin to wonder. Wait just a second. In life, isn't that how we are? Don't sometimes we feel so defeated? We feel like there's a disaster. We feel like we're so frustrated. We feel like there's so much going on. And we begin to wonder, am I ever going to get out of this? And we begin to think like this. And the more we think like this, it begins to show in our actions. I mean, we have God's Word, we have God's creation, and we have God's Spirit to remind us that He's our strength. Amen? Amen. Number 1, David's saying, He's my leader. He's my comforter. He's my strength. Number 4, He's my protector. If you would, look at verse number 4. And yea, though I walk through the valleys of the shadows of death, I will what? Fear no. Everybody say no. No. I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, thy comfort me. And thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Remember, a sheep is absolutely helpless. And they certainly won't defend themselves. The shepherd will have a staff, a club, a rod to fight off all the wild animals. How well did David know this? I want you to think about the famous story about David and Goliath. According to the Bible, in 1 Samuel, it says that there came a time when the giant from the Philistines, Goliath, challenged any man in Israel. Winner take all. If I win, you serve us. If one of your men can beat me, we serve you. It's up to you. You choose anybody you want to. This giant's 9 foot, 9 inches tall, huge man. And he put fear into it. It says all men. The Bible says all the men in Israel were feared of this man. And nobody stepped up to the plate and said, I'll go. I'll challenge this man. And meanwhile, he was coming down the mountain and he was going up the mountain towards the Israelites. And he was defiling God and he was talking about their God and he was challenging them. And nobody stepped up to the plate. And this young man, this teenage boy named David, came from the sheep field there. And as he came out, his brothers looked at him and said, what are you doing here? We don't need you here. You're just nosy and you're just trying to meddle in our business. Go back to those sheep. David said, who's defiling our God? Who is defiling our God? And he went to the king and he said, let me go and challenge this giant. Let me fight him. And the king named Saul said, David, you're too young. You're not man enough. And David had to give his verbal resume right there. He said, wait just a second. Wait just a second. While I was tending my father's sheep, a lion came up. up and took one of my sheep in his mouth, and I wrestled him, and I killed him with my bare hands. Later on, a bear came up and grabbed one of my father's sheep. It was my job to protect him. It was my job to take care of him. I was their shepherd, and I killed the bear, and I killed the lion, and God delivered me from that. And if God delivers me from the bear and the lion, certainly He'll be with me against this giant. What I want you to see is through this dilemma, through this adversity, through this crisis, through these economic woes, through this fear of all men in Israel, what might happen, can you see the confidence in David as he spoke about being protected? See, he said, He is my protector. God will protect me. I will fight this giant. I don't need your armor. I don't need anything else. I'll carry my stones and everything will be all right because God will fight this battle for me. So what kept David from fear? What kept him from worries? Well, actually, it was his personal relationship with God. He knew God was his leader. He knew God was his comfort. He knew God was his strength. He knew God was his protector. And then number 5, David knew God was his provider. He was my provider. Look at chapter 23, verse 4 and 5 and 6. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness, mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Most of David's writings in the book of Psalms came from 2 major distractions. If you have your handouts there, if you would, look at 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse number 6. This was the first one. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse number 6. It's on your handout towards the bottom there. And it came to pass as they came when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the woman came out of all the cities singing and dancing to meet King Saul with the timbrels, the joy, and the instrument of music. And the women, catch this, and the women, everybody say women? And the women answered one to another as they played and said, Saul, our king, has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. Watch this. And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him, and he said, They have ascribed, or they have claimed unto David's 10,000, and to me they ascribe but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom? And Saul's eyes eyed David from that day forward. David went out. And of course you know the story where he killed the giant. He killed Goliath. Well, after that, Saul seen his bravery and his courage, and he gave him a responsibility. He put him over men. He was a leader over the army. And David started going out, and he was killing Philistines right and left with his army. And all of a sudden, one day the people come out, the women, and they begin to sing, and they're playing their instruments, and they come out to meet King Saul, and the women are singing, yes, our Saul has killed thousands, but David 10,000s. And Saul's ego went down and flat and said, what are they saying?